Hey everyone, my name is Sophie from Sophisticated Organization. Welcome back to my channel where today we're going to be doing a craft and office reorganization. I have a lot of my crafts stored in our basement here, and I'm actually going to pull all of my craft supplies out and bring them upstairs to my office. It felt like I had half of my stuff upstairs, half of it downstairs. It wasn't really practical, and as our baby is becoming a toddler and going to start doing some crafts of his own in the future, I want to make this basement a lot more of his space and bring all of my stuff contained into my office. I have my larger Cricut machine up in my office already. I had my smaller Cricut machine down here, so I had half of my vinyl supplies downstairs, half of them upstairs. Long story short, that didn't make sense. It wasn't practical, and when I was in the middle of projects, I was kind of going up and down and up and down. So I think I have enough space in my office to fit everything in there, and will free up a whole bunch of space down here for this to be more of a kid's zone. So step one was to get everything out of that cabinet in the basement that I wanted to bring upstairs. Then I was going to go up to my office where I have two sides, and yes, this is all my office. Jim has a separate office upstairs. The side that I'm on right now is actually the office side. The other side is more of my craft and small business side. So here you'll see I had those baby books. Those are my favorite. I keep those on my office side, as well as a bunch of notebooks that I was going through, seeing if I could declutter anything or just rearrange them. The handwriting notebooks I had, I felt like those were more crafts, so I could bring those to the craft side. And then the other small notebooks I am going to put up high because they are backstock notebooks, and I really only need one at a time. I love these mini binders from Russell and Hazel. I've used them for years and years, since I was in middle school probably. I used this one when I was coaching skating, so I had to pull some of those things out that were more relevant to coaching skating. Since I'm not doing that anymore, I did throw away one of the mini binders that was really beat up, and then decided to keep the other two.
It feels like I'm drunk on you. It's almost like you make me fly. And when I look at you smile, I don't know how, but it feels like I'm drunk on you. It feels like I'm drunk on you. It feels like I'm drunk on you. Oh!
The cabinets here go all the way to the ceiling, so things get very high up and are hard for me to access. But as long as I put the backstock type things that I'm not looking to access very often up high, I think I can take advantage of this space a lot more. I had kept a lot of it empty, so by quickly reorganizing, I know I'll make some extra room for my craft supplies.
Let me love you. Let me feel your love again, 'cause I've been running.
Now I had a giant pile of papers that I needed to go through. I had some recipes, so I could pull those out, bring them into the kitchen, put them in my recipe binders, and then just that stack of papers that I think everyone has that they constantly need to go through. It just accumulates things that you want to refer back to later, and you haven't had the time to write down what you wanted to write down, or take note of something, use a coupon, pay a bill, whatever it is, and I'm just going through that pile.
Everything is alright. Oh, I wanna be with you. Oh, I wanna be with you. Let me be that someone who can hold your hand. I don't even know if you can understand how you make me feel. I got you in my head. Oh, I wanna be with you. Oh, I wanna be with you. 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 All that time away from you, I didn't think I'd make it without you by my side. Let me feel your love again. Just the two of us, and we could stay up all night, kissing under streetlights, doing what we want to.
After I sorted through that pile, I wanted to rearrange the top shelf here. So I'm really grateful that these are on peg holes so I can move the glass shelves up and down. I have extra binders up there, and then I put my laminator up high as well as the laminating paper because I just don't use that very often, and then a 3-hole punch up there too, and my label maker.
Can understand how you make me feel. I got you in my head.
Okay, on to the small business / craft side. I'm going to try and streamline this. I had all sophisticated organizations, small business stuff, some of the things that I sell on my website, and packing materials that I use to send things out, just all over the place. So I'm going to move them to just one side, that right side, and have the left side try and be for my crafts. I did leave the very top of the left side for extra glass and silicone spray bottles because it's up so high. And then I think with that, I probably have enough room that I can start going through my craft supplies and get them organized.
Wanna be with, wanna be with, wanna be with, wanna be with, wanna let me be the someone who can.
First up, I have a lot of different types of pens. I have paint pens. I have some pens that I got to practice and learn calligraphy a while ago. I have my Cricut markers, just normal pens and pencils. So I got this small Lazy Susan from Target that is the perfect size for all of these, so I can divide them and sort them by type. Previously, I had all of my pens in this drawer, a small unit that I had on my office side of things, and it just makes more sense, I think, to pull them out and put them all together in this rotating Lazy Susan. I didn't have that many. I have a ton of highlighters, so I'm going to have a separate section for highlighters there. I can refill my pen cup, and then I'm also going to pull out, I did find one Crayola marker. That's going to be for our child, Owen. I'm going to bring that downstairs because I don't need Crayola markers up in my office for the crafts that I'm doing, so that will fit better in his space.
Best thing about it is I know I'm coming back. Oh, oh. Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.
A great thing to do as you're going through your pens, if you're planning on going through your craft supplies or your office anytime soon, I did this recently, so I'm not doing it today, but I just take out a piece of paper and draw a little line with each and every pen as I go through them. And even if I felt like I've done this recently, I'm always surprised at how many markers or highlighters or pens are dead and no longer work. So even next time you're watching TV, you could grab your pens and your markers and just do this activity while you're doing something else and do a little bit of decluttering.
This is where my heart is. Oh.
This little organizing project I did not that long ago is one of my favorites. It just makes me so happy at how simple and clean it is and how well it works for me. I have a hanging file organizer, and I just got some white file folders, used some vinyl to make colored stickers, and have all of my really nice craft paper. This isn't construction paper like I would have downstairs in the basement for kids, but this is really nice crafting paper if I'm going to use it with my Cricut and make banners or invitations or something like that. So it is more of an adult paper. And I had some extra papers that I wanted to add in there. I had a lot of glitter ones, so I made an extra folder there for glitter paper at the back.
Got more love here than I can bear. Ooh. Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you. Been walking down the street so many times, my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold. No matter what I do, I'm coming home to you. And I don't know
For the main craft cabinet, I also got these organizers at Target, and they're meant to go in the bathroom. They come in this gray color as well as a frosted white color. I really liked how they stacked. I didn't take super accurate measurements, but I had a general idea of the size of my space, and while I was shopping around at Target, I thought these would be a great fit. So I just grabbed a few different sizes, and I'm playing around with them first to see which size bins fit in that space best, and then I'm going to fill them up based on what fits in my space.
Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.
Once I got an arrangement I liked, I worked on filling the upper cabinet. So first I started by putting all of these glass bottles, water bottles, a few things that I've bought on Amazon in the past for friends to do personalized gifts or mugs, little body butter jars, and my Cricut Joy machine, and thought I would put that up high. I left it like that for a little bit. You'll see I do change it a tiny bit while I got the rest of my craft supplies together.
And one day she said, write me a love song, 'cause I know you'll make it beautiful.
The smaller Cricut machine, the Joy, does have some smaller paper that goes just with that machine. It's called their Smart Vinyl, so you don't have to put it on any sort of backing, which you usually have to do with vinyl. You can just directly feed it into the machine, and I have some of that, so I wanted to sort that separately from the rest of my vinyl. And actually the width of these organizers were perfect for that. I had a few extra boxes of different vinyls, so I pulled those out of their boxes just because I wanted to reduce the packaging, try and minimize some of the space that it takes up, and streamline the look of everything.
Baby, I only want you. It's true. And then he said, I wrote you a love song, and I tried to make it beautiful. It's a song about your sweet, sweetheart, and how nobody can steal me away. Yeah, I am yours, 'cause I want you, and I wanted you to know. As he sang, she started to dance, grabbed his arm and took his hand. He held her close under the moonlight as they kept on dancing.
I also had some craft paper that was specific for the Joy and those mats that I mentioned that you typically have to put vinyl on. There are smaller ones that you need for the Cricut Joy machine. So I'm trying to keep all of my Cricut Joy supplies together, and some of the smaller little accessories fit in another one of those organizers, and the rest I'll just have to put on the side.
Nobody can get in their way or steal the show.
The markers I'll probably see myself accessing the most often, so I have those down low so I can easily grab them, and then the stacking bins are just a level above that. Don't mind me while I stand on my desk to get up there. I do have a step stool, but the step stool isn't quite high enough to get to the highest shelves.
As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care in the world. I was one rich little girl, daydreamer, kidnap me, take me back, all the way back to them days.
You'll see I'm just playing around with how things fit best, trying to rearrange it and get it all into that cabinet. I want to keep my crafts together in one place. That's really important for me, to have a uniform location for everything. I also have a unit where I house my printer that has 2 sets of drawers. The top drawer has been a little bit of a mess, and I think I am going to clear it out first of all, because it has a lot of stuff that I'm currently using to plan our almost 1-year-old's first birthday party. So I'm rearranging it a little bit, and I think I'm going to use some of those spaces for active projects that I'm working on. so they have a place to go, because I find myself making a mess and not having a place to store those things that aren't complete projects and I'm still in the middle of. I'm also doing a little bit of rearranging with my drawers over here. I had this whole side dedicated to sophisticated organization, so mostly supplies that I use to make my labels, ship products, and then the next drawer down was camera equipment. But I don't have that much stuff, so I figured I could combine it and make the top drawer sophisticated organization, all of that stuff together, and the next drawer down I could use for more crafting supplies. I don't have a ton in there right now, but I like having some space to grow, and I think it'll be handy to have a drawer that's a little bit of an easier access point for me than those cabinets were. I'm thinking I'll put things in there like my hot glue gun and some other miscellaneous items.
To them days, daydreamer, kidnap me, have me running around in a gown and a crown, barefoot, have me running around, dressed in a gown, barefoot.
Back on the other side of my office, I needed to change the level of the glass shelf so I could fit this file organizer up there. It's actually empty right now, but again, space to grow. No need for me to throw away that file organizer just because it's empty right now. I have the space, so I'm going to keep it there, and I may end up using it in the future. Now we're on to the fun part. Not that this whole thing hasn't been fun. I love the organizing part, but I also love making labels. So I'm hopping on my computer here. You can see I'm looking at all of the different things that I've set up and what labels I want to make. So I am going to make some for my pens. I'm going to make some for all of those bins, and I'm going to use my Cricut machine that I share with you guys all the time that I use. I'm using my big Cricut Explore machine, and I'm working to pick the right size and font.
Used to shine when we were young. I told you that we should start a band and reach for the sky. It's 2 a.m. and I can't fall asleep. I'm just not tired. I can hear the raindrops falling. It's cold outside and I kind of feel like calling, but it's too late now. I just miss you.
I keep a small bin under my desk of all of my scraps of vinyl, so I think with today's project, because they're really small labels and they're just for me, I'm going to try and use up some of those scraps and be as efficient as I can with my vinyl. So it takes a little bit of arranging and rearranging of all of the little vinyl pieces on that green mat to get them lined up and printing perfectly.
Ourselves at age 18, we had the devil on our shoulders telling us what we should do. I wonder if you think about me too.
Again, I do have a few other videos on my YouTube page if you are interested in learning more about how to use a Cricut. If you aren't interested and you ever want to purchase custom labels, you can also buy those through my website as well.
I just miss you. I just miss you. Oh, I miss you.
After the labels have printed, I just need to peel away all of the little pieces that go in between all of the letters and then the large pieces around it to reveal the actual label that I want to make. It's kind of a tedious process. It takes a while. I usually just pop up my iPad and watch a show or listen to a podcast or something. And then the next step is to put transfer tape on top of these so you can pick up all of the letters, transfer them to the surface you want to put them on, and then transfer them to the surface you want to put them on.
I just miss you. I just miss you. Miss you. Miss you.
adding all of the labels to the pen Lazy Susan, trying to center them as best I can, peeling off the transfer tape, putting it onto the Lazy Susan, rubbing it, and then slowly peeling that transfer tape off again to reveal the letters.
Another season we leave behind, another story that's got me blind. Got only you on my
With the gray organizers here, you'll see I made a couple for Cricut Joy specifically. You saw that as I was organizing things. So I had one that was for paper, one that's for the Easy Press. That's a mini iron that I use for heat transfer vinyl if I'm making little projects. I even use that little mini iron if I'm making a t-shirt or something. If you're making projects often, they sell a much larger one that would be a lot more efficient. But for my purposes, because I don't use it that often, I'm just using the small one.
Cause every time I try, yeah, every time I dream, there's always this big part of me wanna believe in what I see. If you can make me
I also wanted to keep some of the labels here a little bit generic. So you'll see I have one that says specialty crafts there. If I made it too specific and said something like bath bomb making kit, and I decided to get rid of that, and I picked up some new craft as I typically do or tend to do, then I would have to remake labels, and it just makes it a lot easier to rotate things through, like how this one says crafting accessories. That can mean a variety of things, but it will also help me find what I'm looking for and know where to put things away. You guys know I use this strategy all throughout my house. Another great example is in my pantry. Instead of saying penne pasta on my pasta container that I have in my pantry, I just say pasta because the type of pasta that I put in there could very easily change. And keeping it just a tiny bit more generic makes it much more versatile.
there's always this big part of me wanna believe in what I see.
So I am going to finish up with these labels and show you the final after. That is it for today's organizing project. I hope that you enjoyed, got a little bit of inspiration and motivation to maybe organize a similar space in your home or somewhere else. But until next time, I will see you guys later.